In this video, I want to talk about how the world of work has shifted and most professionals haven't clocked it yet. I speak to people all the time and I can tell that they're still operating on a mental model based 5, 10, 15 years ago. And, it may not be impacting your role and your prospects at present, but it certainly will in future. And so my intention here is that you have the information you need so that at the very least you're prepared. If you want to move, you're equipped to be able to do so in a very successful way. Or if something happens, for example, you're let go of, then you're in a position where you can bounce back quickly. So the first thing I want to talk about in terms of how the world of work has shifted is obviously AI. AI is everywhere. The specific impact it's had on professionals is that it's redefined what value means in the workplace. So, for example, a lot of value was placed on the ability to code, and coding is still an important skill set. However, because a lot of the modern large language models, LLMs, can now do the basic form of coding, the kind of skill set required for software engineers is slightly different. So, for example, being able to kind of have creative ideas as to what to code, how to code it, knowing, having taste, knowing the extent to which you continue down a particular route versus rerouting, to go down a different route. All of those things, that kind of judgment is increasingly becoming something that software engineers are being sort of judged on. So, I think the key thing any professional needs to do in this day and age is to just kind of assess the impact that AI is having on the industry and on your role specifically. And, the outcome could be that, you know that you need to move into a completely different field because perhaps AI is rendering your current role obsolete, or that you can actually train in the AI tool set that you need to in order to ensure that you can be optimizing your current role. The second thing is that this idea of, full-time jobs, working within an industry for the rest of your career or within an employer for the rest of your career, those things are now dated. What we're seeing is the rise of the gig economy, the rise of fractional work, especially for experienced and tenured professionals, people with 10, 15, 20 years under their belt, being able to sort of package their skill sets and add value to companies who may not necessarily have been able to afford someone of that caliber. Or of that tenure, but is able to for a few hours a week or a few days a week. So we're seeing the rise of fractional work in the industry as part of the gig economy. We're also seeing the rise of location independent work. So obviously with social media, with the internet, COVID did us a solid because it meant that a lot of people realized, I think this was more for individuals than companies, realized that they could actually do their jobs without having to physically be in the office. And I know that is something that a lot of companies have been fighting recently. Some industries have been very adamant about people having to come into work to retain their roles. But if it's something that's really important to you to have location independent living, to be able to, buy a house in the countryside and not have to sort of wrestle with people on commutes every day, or if you want to slow travel around the world while you work, that is available to you in this day and age. The other thing that has shifted is this idea that people are no longer enamored by titles. You see people giving up titles so that they can have flexibility or giving up big roles so that they can do the stuff that they like. I think this idea that you had to be climbing this ladder and you had to strive to get from one position to another, I think that has lost its that has sort of lost the shine. There's still industries and people that are gunning for, the next level after the next level. But I'd say for the most part, a lot of people have sort of detached themselves from that really and not had to sort of worry about that. The other thing I'll say is the need to really demonstrate the caliber of your work and the caliber of your thinking in the industry. If you want to be taken seriously or if you want to be considered for new opportunities, I see people oftentimes not engaging with LinkedIn, which is obviously the social media network of choice if you're in the careers space. I see people not engaging at all, and then when they want to look for a job, they'll come in and apply for a job and kind of leave the network. I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think LinkedIn is good for paying attention to what people in your industry are doing, listening to your industry, but also demonstrating how you think and the sort of work that you do. So it doesn't have to be on LinkedIn, although it's a good idea to sort of link people from LinkedIn to wherever you are. But for example, if you're a programmer, you want to evidence your work on GitHub. If you're a researcher, AI researcher, you might want to evidence your work on Arxiv. So you just want to have somewhere online that showcases how you think, showcases your work, because for you to be considered for new opportunities when the time is right, it's not just sufficient to apply. That indicates interest, but actually, what begins to set you apart from everybody else is a demonstration of how you think, demonstration of how you work, demonstration of the caliber of work that you've already created. And, your prospective employer or business partners can begin to see how that could add value to the work that they do. So I think that's it really. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can think of that I haven't already covered. I think that's it. There's more, but we'll cover that in subsequent videos. So if you are, a professional and, you're in a corporate sphere, you're saying to yourself, okay, thank you for this information. What does that mean for me right now? I'd say the first thing is don't panic, right? Awareness is the sort of first thing. The next stage I would say is around just auditing your current skill set. Audit your current skill set alongside some of the stuff I've talked about. Audit what it is you want to do now, but also in the near future. And on the basis of that, start taking steps today. So don't wait until it's too late, but start taking steps today. So I hope that's been valuable for you. Please do subscribe to my channel and ask any questions that you have in the comments as well. And see you next time.